It's Thursday, June 16th, 2011. This is Dabu 7. Let's get right to the point here, folks. This video is on the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant that is being blacked out by the media. There's also a secondary nuclear plant, Cooper plant, that is continuing to operate even though they know floodwaters are heading their way. And what we're looking at here is the Missouri River. And you can see where it's supposed to normally flow. It is just massively inundated with water. Very few news agencies have been broadcasting on this. If you're not anywhere around the area of Nebraska, you're not going to hear a word of this. People like Alex Jones are not paying any attention to this and just blowing it off. This is a picture of the levee that broke on Monday. 2 of them broke. Water's rising quickly, shutting down state routes, highways, roads, inundating homes. Lots and lots of land lost. This is newsworthy, and not a word being said of it, folks. And the snow has only begun to melt, and they're expecting this to rise another 5 feet. Looks like an ocean. Now, like I said, I'm putting this video out there for my subscribers, for people to come to my channel. I'm playing my part in getting this out there. This is huge. If not one of the biggest videos I've ever done, information-wise, on what's affecting our country. They're already blacking out the whole Fukushima radiation thing. I'm taking it, if you're watching this video, you're thirsty for knowledge, and I'm here to give it to you to the best of my ability. This is the USS Hazard. This is normally all on dry land, but it's found itself back on water. Just absolutely flooded here. Biblical proportions. Lower level of the casino, the parking lot, outside Hamburg, broken roads. Roads been swallowed up. And they put this levee up, secondary levee, thinking it's going to hold. Yeah, right. I'm about to show you. Let's look at this. Looks like an ocean. Now this here is Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant. Now this went down in April for refueling. And that's what it looked like then. This is what it looks like now. Inundated with water. For those of you that don't know, this nuclear power plant is underwater. They had a small fire in the basement here in the past few days, in the past week, and it knocked out the cooling systems for the spent fuel rod pool. And it doesn't take long for that water to start boiling. Now, the reports that, as you can see, it's flooded completely. They sandbagged this place. Are you kidding me? Sandbagging a nuclear power plant. And this is not on the news. I'm telling you. Completely surrounded by water. Now they're letting water, one report said, flow into this facility to cool down the spent fuel rods. Where's that water going back into? Huh? Right back into the Missouri. Telling you folks, get hip. If you're just now hearing anything about this, get hip. This is bad news. Germany, Italy, they all voted overwhelmingly to shut down all the power plants in their countries. Now, as we touch on this, downstream from this is Cooper nuclear power plant. and they know the water is continuing to rise. Now you would think, common sense, shut the plant down, you've got time. They're not. Okay, this all smells like a setup to me. Right there, folks. Completely flooded. And there's a fuel pool that's holding over 20 fuel rods at this facility. Now, I just showed you a picture of the secondary dam that they had put up, the secondary levee.
It's now on the brink this morning of what could be a massive disaster. Floodwaters from the rising Missouri River are about to pour into a town in Iowa, swamping it under as much as 10 feet of water. The town's only hope, a quickly built makeshift levee. Our Barbara Pinto is there, and she has the latest. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, Josh. It is eerie to watch this wall of water move in as this town scrambles to protect itself. You can see the Missouri River already up on this new levee and the heavy equipment shoring up this 14-foot wall of Iowa farm dirt. It is this town's last and only hope. The floodwaters are expected to move in even higher today. 1,000 people live in this town. Hundreds have left already. All of them praying that this wall of dirt will be enough to save their town. The water could be high here for weeks.
Okay, that levee I showed you earlier is already up to the brim with water. They're expecting it to raise another 5 feet. I'm saying double it. The snowpack has just begun to melt. Storms still pouring in, folks. We're going to go full screen here. And this is from a news agency in Nebraska, and they have put out a no-fly zone above this nuclear plant. One reason is to keep the news out.
I wanted to point out an area right over here, right there. That's the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant. I wanted to show you how surrounded it is by water. We couldn't fly very close because of the no-fly or the restriction zone there, but even from the distance you can see it's almost like a castle surrounded by a moat. The plant was shut down April 9th for maintenance. It remains closed because of the flooding, but the levees around it are holding right now. Now, much of the land north of here is farmland.
No, the levees around it is not holding.
Potential income is washed away. Here you can see the irrigation system.
Okay, as you can see, this just looks like an ocean here.
Now imagine that same farm with that loss of income for the next 2 years. Scott's been up here, how many have been up here for the last week, up and down?
Now I'm just running through clips here, trying to get as much as I can in here in a 15-minute clip. Midwest floods heighten nuclear crisis. Fort Calhoun is the designated spent fuel storage facility for the entire state of Nebraska, and maybe for more than one state. Calhoun stores its spent fuel rods in a ground level pool, which are underwater anyway, but they are open at the top. And when the Missouri River pours in there, it's going to make Fukushima look like an X-ray. But that's not all. There's a lot of nuclear plants in both the Missouri and Mississippi, as these levees just continue to fall like dominoes. I'm telling you, get hip. It's going down. U.S. plants hold about over four times over capacity in the spent fuel pools, plus all the new and recently removed fuel from Calhoun. Now, this is not good. It is flooded, being flooded. I'm going to go and show you one more clip here from Arnie Gunderson and another news broadcast and what they have to say.
Well, today OPPD declares a notification of unusual events at the Fort Calhoun nuclear power station. OPPD did not want KMTV Action 3 News to shoot this video, but because the Missouri River is a public waterway, we feel it's our job and our right to show the public what's happening at the Fort Calhoun nuclear power station. Water in many places already up to the buildings, with the flood expected to rise another 5 feet or more this summer.
Now they're saying another 5 feet. Folks, I'm saying double it. It's about to get bad. And they're not going to tell you anything. You need to make this go viral. Because anything that happens at these nuclear plants and goes unspoken about is going right down to Missouri, right down into the Mississippi, right into the Gulf. And everything's heading east. Here's Arnie Gunderson.
What is going on and what has happened and been minimized in the reportage generally about the situation at Fort Calhoun.
Well, thank you for having me, and your summary was really excellent. The sandbags and nuclear power plants really don't belong in the same sentence, and now we're seeing one that is literally putting sandbags up to reinforce itself against the flood. I think the real issue here is, why are we having this flood? There's a lot of snow in the Rockies this year, more so than a long time, and all of the dams upstream are full. So all of them are just opening up their water and letting it cascade down to the next dam, which is letting it cascade down to the next dam. Well, the plant was designed against a flood that it can't get much worse than this, or else it's going to breach the walls. But my concern is, what if a dam breaks? That would be the equivalent of the Fukushima tsunami. These dams are filled to the brim, and there's more than one. So it doesn't mean that the one that's immediately upstream has to break. It's any one of a series has to break, which could inundate this like Fukushima was with essentially an inland tsunami. The dams are not structurally sound, like built to the same standards as a nuclear plant. But in fact, the nuclear plant is now relying on the integrity of something that's basically a big earthen berm.
If one of these, almost like an electrical circuit in series, resistors in series, if these dams, which we might liken to resistors, any one of them broke, that would put extra stress on all the ones downstream of it, would it not?
That's correct. That's correct. So, it will probably ride out the storm if the storm doesn't get any worse. They're within a foot or two of what they were designed for, and hopefully it looks like that the flows that are coming out of the dams, as the Corps of Engineers has opened the valves, they can just barely get by. But if
Okay, you just heard him say they're within a foot or two. And you also heard them say they expect it to rise another 5 feet. Do the math here, folks. Places like YouTube, Godlike Productions, Realist News, other outlets, these are the only places that you're going to find real information on this. Guys like Alex Jones are ignoring this, blowing it off. I'm warning you. What's happening with the Missouri and the Mississippi River is critical. So I'm shooting this video to put out there for you guys. Spread the word, okay? Spread it, embed it, pass it along, Facebook it, email it. Get this knowledge out there, because it's only going to get worse. It's raining in these areas right now. If one dam breaks, one dam upstream, it's game over. And the second nuclear plant, Cooper, is up and running, and they know of this, and they're surrounded by water as well, and they're not shutting down. So heads up, folks. Knowledge is power. Much love. When I get updates, I'll post again. Till next time, this is Dabu 7 for Thursday, June 16th, 2011. Much love.